Here we go, people, and we're live. It's the African Cup of Nation. The host country, Ivory Coast, will be taking on Guinea-Bissau tonight. And Ivory Coast, people, is one of those teams that a lot of people are sleeping on this Ivory Coast team. A lot of people are underestimating Ivory Coast, but I expect this Ivory Coast team to do big things in this tournament. I know people would be expecting the big guns like Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt. I think Mo Salah as well. This is his last chance to win a African Cup with Egypt. I think he's on the verge. Last time around, they missed out to Senegal on penalties. Shout out to Sani Mane there for taking his team home in the last African Cup. Nigeria is a team that has all the qualities, have some of the best strikers in football, in the world of football. If you start looking at strikers, you will have to talk about Nigeria. But Nigeria, for some reason, haven't happened to get their game together. Can Nigeria get their game together in this African Cup and take home the title? Ghana is another team. Ghana is talked about as the Brazil of Africa, but Ghana hasn't seemed to get it together either. Can Ghana get it together this time around? Game time is in the next 27 minutes. The game kicks off in the next 27 minutes with Ivory Coast versus Guinea-Bissau. I don't expect the Ivory Coast team to have any problems in this one. I think Ivory Coast, if you look at their squad, there's just way too much quality in this Ivory Coast team for Guinea-Bissau. I think Ivory Coast should take this one home quite comfortably. And Ivory Coast is my pick this African Cup of Nations. I think Ivory Coast is very underrated. They are very overlooked, but I expect a lot of their players to come through. They have a lot of good players all over Europe, Germany, France, England, and I expect them to do very well. So I was taking a look at the ceremony. It was stunning. The opening ceremony for the African Cup, always great a great show to watch. But it's game time in a couple of minutes. and we'll be watching the game live from here. Shout out to everybody over wherever you are in the world. If you're in Africa, if you're in Ivory Coast, wherever you are, if you're in Guinea-Bissau, if you're in Cape Verde. Cape Verde is a team and a country that I have a lot of love for. Spend a lot of time in Cape Verde, and I think they have improved very much when it comes on to football. They have really improved. But they are also Cape Verde. They're going through I would say, a rebuilding phase. I don't know if they have enough to really be competitive. Another team, yeah, I have a link that you guys can watch the game. Everybody over there and on Facebook, hit the like button. Yes, Richard, I can drop a link for you to watch the game. Everybody over there on Facebook, hit the like button on the video. Thanks to everybody who's over there watching on X or if you're on YouTube. But as you know, the African Cup of Nation is it's a tournament that's come under a lot of scrutiny due to the scheduling. The African Cup of Nations tends to be played in January, and a lot of Premier League teams and a lot of big European clubs would say that it disrupts, big up yourself, Tennessee Lewis, it disrupts their flow when it comes on to football. But I just think it shows and it highlights the importance of African players in Europe and in the world of football. If you look, every big club in Europe have a African player, and a lot of times those players are standout players, and a lot of players are switching allegiance from France to countries like Algeria, Angola, Morocco. Guys, Morocco is the country I think that comes into this tournament with the most pressure. I think that a lot of people are saying that based on Morocco's performance in the World Cup, a lot of people think that Morocco should win this tournament. But as we all know, this is not an easy tournament to win. You have to come out there. You have to come out there and play. And um, Morocco will have to play their best football to walk away, because I think Senegal will be coming back strong to take the title a second time around. Egypt is one of the teams that has won the African Cup of Nations the most. As you know, Egypt is that country, and I think Salah has to dig deep this time to get the title under his belt. I think he would want to win one, because I can't see Egypt winning the World Cup. Just like a Lionel Messi, I think Mo Salah is one of the next best players in the world, and this is his opportunity to come back big and win a title for Egypt. Yeah, this is his chance to win. But as I said, Ivory Coast tonight, it's all about Ivory Coast and it's all about Guinea-Bissau. The yes, so those are the two teams. Those are the two teams that will be playing tonight, and it should be an exciting encounter. I'm always happy when it's time. I'm always excited. I'm always excited when it's time to watch African Cup of Nations, as it's a fast-paced game, high intensity, lots of energy, players playing to get looked at. And every time after the African Cup of Nation, there's always a player that makes a big move to a European club. We don't know who that's going to be this time around, but there's a lot of talent on the African continent. Hence, this time around, we we should see some quality football being played in this competition. Yes, so shout out to everybody again. Big up yourself, El Padrino. El Padrino, big up yourself. Let's go through the groups and see who are some of the teams in the groups. Let's look at some of the teams in the groups and see who we think should be coming out of these groups. So we have let me just set this up here. Let me just set this up here. Yeah, so in group A, as you know, we have Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria. The I think Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria and Ivory Coast should get out of this group quite easily. I think those two teams are the favorite to get out of Group A. Equatorial Guinea, don't see Equatorial Guinea being a problem for any of these teams. And remember, this competition goes on to the group of 16, so there will be teams, third place teams that make it to the second round, as you know. So in Group A, as I said, I think Ivory Coast. I have Ivory Coast. Let me know in the comment section, guys, who do you think will win this competition this year? Let me know in the comment section, who do you think will win this African Cup this time around? My pick is Ivory Coast. When I look at their squad, I think Ivory Coast for me is the most complete team. Their players are playing at a high level. I'm keeping an eye on two teams as the sleeper teams, which is Mali and Gambia. Gambia has one of the best strikers, young strikers in football outside of Nigeria. Osimhen at Napoli. Everybody knows that he is the top man. He's the top dog that everybody is trying to bro, Squelch, I think you should save that for another show, bro. We're talking African football today. We're not gonna be talking reggae boys right now. Sorry about that, bro. So yes, Morocco, they have a squad, but I like how Mali plays. Mali, they have a lot of grit. They seem like they want to get it done. And if you look at the Mali under 17 team, they played very well. I think they got third place in the World Cup. I was quite disappointed though that I didn't see any of the youth 17 players from Mali in this Mali squad, as I think that Mali has some very good young talent. I'm watching Mali and I'm watching Gambia this time around. I think those two countries have some really good young players coming up in the world of football. Algeria as well have some pretty good players. I think they're a sleeper country. People tend to sleep on Algeria, but we will get yeah, Dr. Don. Yeah, the game is on Fubu TV. Yes. So Group B, we have Egypt, Ghana, Cape Verde, and Mozambique. I think Mozambique and Cape Verde will find it very difficult to get out of Group B. I think in this Group B competition, I think we're gonna have Egypt. I have Egypt topping Group B. I have Egypt topping Group B, as I think that they are one of the teams that has won this competition the most, and with Mo Salah being one of the best players in the world. And I think like Messi had to win that World Cup in Qatar, I think Mo Salah has to win this African Cup this time around. I think this is his last chance to really put his stamp on the continent. He hasn't really done that for Egypt. Though Egypt has only lost one football game in 2023, they are a tough team. So they're going to be a tough team to beat this time around. And remember that Egypt lost on penalties. Egypt didn't get overrun. They lost on penalty to a Senegal team that played some beautiful football. And if you can remember that Senegal was one of those countries that upset France back in that World Cup opener and shocked the world, shocked the football world. Senegal, players like Diouf, Boateng, all those guys, they came out and played a hell of a football game and beat a beautiful France team. Yes, I think that I have Ivory Coast winning the competition, Dr. Don, because I think Ivory Coast for me is one of the most complete teams. Though not every position they have stars, but all their positions have competent players. When you look at a team like Ghana should be the team who should be walking away with this. Nigeria has the best strikers in the world, but they just can't get it together. I think Ghana is very weak in the midfield. They are very loose defensively. They are not very organized as well. Nigeria doesn't seem to get it together. They tend to come out a bit reckless in this competition. And I think this competition gets tighter when it hits the round of 16. Though if Nigeria can start finding some good form and play some good defensive football, I think they have the strike force to get the goals. But I think that Nigeria is very suspect defensively when I look at this Nigerian team. However, Nigeria has the best. So Group B, guys, as I said, Egypt, I expect Egypt and Ghana to come out a Group B. I don't expect Cape Verde. As I said, Cape Verde is a country that I have a lot of love for. Spend a lot of time in Cape Verde. Really small country, really beautiful country. A lot of connections there to Brazil. As you know, a lot of the slaves in Brazil were taken from Cape Verde, as Cape Verde is a Portuguese island. And as you know, the Portuguese are the ones responsible for slavery in Brazil. This is not a history class, just letting you guys know what's the deal. So I Cape Verde is going through a rebuilding phase at the moment, so I don't expect Cape Verde to do much in this competition. So I think Cape Verde won't get out of this group, and I don't think that Mozambique has enough to get out of this group. Group C: Senegal, Cameroon, Guinea, and the Gambia. I think Group C for me is the group of death. Group C for me is the group of death with the champion Senegal, and you never know what Cameroon is going to bring to the table. Cameroon can just show up and start playing some amazing football. Haven't been the team that we expected Cameroon to be. Cameroon in the past was touted as the African team that was predicted to win a World Cup. That's how good Cameroon was at one point. It was touted that Cameroon or Nigeria would have been one of the countries from Africa to really win a World Cup. However, the Cameroonians haven't been able to get it together and get their football program really up and running. But I think Cameroon is an unpredictable team. Cameroon is a little bit like Jamaica, to be honest. You never know what Cameroon is going to bring to the table. And in this competition, I don't know what Cameroon is going to bring to the table. So Cameroon is a team that's very unpredictable, guys. So in this group, I think this is the group where we might have three teams coming out of this group. Guinea is another surprising team. People, don't sleep on Guinea. If you get a chance, go and look at the Guinea squad. The Guinea squad is a loaded squad of talented players all over France, and they have some brilliant young players coming up. So I think this Group C is the group of death for me. I think that Senegal, ah, I think Senegal will be coming out of this group. The second place to me in this group is between the Gambia and Guinea in this group. I just don't know what Cameroon is going to bring to the table. I don't know how Cameroon is going to show up and play. Cameroon likes to knock the football around. They play a beautiful style of football, but they're all over the place at times when it comes on to scoring goals and defending. Though I think they are very composed, very compact in the middle of the park. I don't know what Cameroon is going to give you. So I have three teams leaving this group, which is Senegal, Guinea, and the Gambia. As I said, Gambia is one of the sleeper teams in this competition. Everybody, remember to hit the like button on this video. Remember to share, hit the like button on this video. The game starts in 12 minutes. It's Ivory Coast versus Guinea-Bissau. And this is the kickoff of the 2024 AFCON Cup. This is a massive competition. It's been held in January. As you know, managers like Jurgen Klopp came out and said that this competition disrupts a lot of teams in Europe. It disrupts the game in England, as there's so many players from Nottingham Forest, one of the top players from Liverpool. These players have to leave and go play African nation football. But I think it's good for the continent. This is where all the spotlight is on Africa. This is where the youngsters from Africa gets a chance to really show their worth and maybe get a big contract and move on to Europe and help their families. So kudos to all the players. stepping out in this competition. Group D, Algeria. Algeria, as I said, is a really decent team. They've been doing a lot of recruitment. As you know, Algeria and the French connection. Algeria is a team that's trying to pull talent out of France as well, but they're finding it very difficult to pull some of their best talents. There are players who got called up for this Algeria team who didn't take the call up as they stayed and played club football. So Algeria, they'll be decent. We have Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, I can say, guys, my first time watching African Cup of Nations back when I was a little kid, Burkina Faso was one of my favorite teams because they play this fast style of football, very gritty, up and down the park. So Burkina Faso is really a good team as well. Don't know how they will fare in this competition. Mauritania, they are decent. Don't see them coming out of this group. Angola, I have Angola coming out of this group. I have Burkina Faso and Angola and Algeria coming out of this group. This is another group that I think potentially can get a bit tight, where we have three countries coming out of this group. So Algeria, Burkina Faso, and Angola, really three good teams in that group. Another group here, Group E, Tunisia, Mali, South Africa, and Namibia. No, I expect Tunisia and Mali to come out of this group. As I said, my two sleeper teams in this year's competition is Mali and the Gambia. Mali and the Gambia, big up yourself, Mr. United. I think Mali and the Gambia is going to make a lot of waves in the football world in the next 5 to 10 years. They are doing a lot of things right. They just maybe need to get the infrastructure up a little bit better and get the game a bit more exposed. But I think Mali, if you looked at their youth teams did very well, very competitive. But as I said, I was very disappointed that I didn't see more youth players in the Mali team as their youth team did so well recently. I'm very disappointed, but I still expect that Mali will do well with the experience they have and the mixture of the youth players that they have. So I have Mali and Tunisia coming out of this group. I don't think South Africa always comes with a lot of energy, a lot of swag, the Rainbow Nation, South Africa, but they don't really get it done in these kind of competition. South Africa might end up in the round of 16. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a third place team getting out of their group, but I don't expect South Africa to do much in this competition. They would be a huge surprise for me if South Africa do the job in this competition. Group F, guys, here is another good group, but I think Morocco should walk away with the top spot in Group F. Here we have Morocco, we have the Congo, we have Zambia, and Tanzania. It's very hard to pick the next team coming out of this group. I think it's going to be between Zambia and I think Zambia. I give Zambia the second spot coming out of Group F. But Morocco, this is an easy group. I think Morocco got one of the easiest group in this competition. So I expect I expect Morocco to walk out of this one. Leroy Smart says South Africa and Zambia tend to play the most eye-catching football, but physically they can't continue. I don't know how to say that. With Conetui or something, or I don't know, Conetui. I can't pronounce that. I have to go teach me. Don't see no bro. With the stronger nation, I don't know if he's supposed to be compete with the. I don't know if that's a word, bro. You probably just taught me a new word with the stronger compete. Me I say, bro. Like me I say, yo, me get dunks a while ago. Thank you, dear Leroy Smart. But Mali, Nigeria, and Cameroon, and etc. I'm gonna hop over to Instagram. Let me wait before I get over to Instagram. Let me just throw this up on the screen so we can see how much minutes is left before the game starts. So kickoff is in 5 minutes, people. 5 minutes before it's kick off, as you can see there. Ivory Coast takes on Guinea-Bissau in this opener. Big up yourself. Leroy Smart, let me give you the wrench right now, man. I remember yesterday I was supposed to do that, but I couldn't Let me just figure this out, Leroy Smart, so I can get you the range. So it's game day, folks. It's game day, and it's African football. Always an exciting competition, very underrated competition. I think a lot of people tend to think that this competition is not like the big European competition. The what? I don't have it. I think that's the one that we left. Yeah, but when I was putting on your shoes, I think we left it. Let me add Leroy here as a moderator to the channel. So big up yourself, Leroy. Let me head over to Instagram here and see the starting lineup for a lot of these teams. I think the starting lineup should be out as the game starts in 5 minutes, guys. The game starts in 5 minutes. Ivory Coast. The game starts. And guys, I'm gonna be making a lot of mistakes on stream because a lot of these names are not very easy to pronounce. If you're not African, you probably won't be pronouncing a lot of the names very easily. But let me see if the starting. I have to get my live stream up for the game. Leroy Smart say, everybody over there on Facebook, let me know what team you're supporting. We have Bejam here. I think he's supporting Senegal, and I don't know if that's not Cape Verde. I think that's Gambia. I think he loves Gambia and Senegal. Are is that the Senegal and Ghanaian flag always confuses me a little bit there. I don't know if that's Ghana or that's I think that might be Senegal with the stars inside of it though. I'm not sure. Let's see. Hopefully the games are well attended. Ivory Coast is a nice country with great infrastructure and great stadiums. Yes, I look forward for Ivory Coast. As I said, Ivory Coast is my team to win this competition this time around. I expect Nigeria to walk away with the competition this time around. Uh, yeah, we couldn't open this one, Maya. I can't open this one. I can't open this one. Yeah, can't open this one. Yes. So game starts in 3 minutes. People, just bringing up my stream for the game here as the game starts in 3 minutes. The game kicks off in 3 minutes. I have so many windows open, man, on my computer. Have to just shut things down here for a little bit here. So shout out to everybody who has joined the stream. Let me know what team you're supporting. Let me know your predictions for this game. Who do you have winning this game? Is this? I think this should be an easy win for Ivory Coast tonight. I think this Ivory Coast team has what it takes to get the victory tonight. I think this should be a quite very easy win for Ivory Coast. But when it comes on to African football, you never know what's going to happen. Guinea-Bissau might show up tonight and try to play this Ivory Coast team very hard. Oh, let's get Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast on my stream here. Ah. That's the thing with these websites. It's just a lot of pop-ups. So it's game day, people. Ivory Coast versus. Uh, I just had the game here, man. Okay, here we go. Because I was like, I just had the game saved on my screen here. All right. Just had the game saved here on my screen. Don't think it's live on this yet. Some of these it's in French. Yeah, everybody hit. Okay, you Lita, you have this game 0-0. So you think about to take the which you have this game 0-0. Okay, you don't think there will be any goals in this game. Everybody over there on Facebook, like, share, follow over there on Facebook. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for joining us. We have 130 people watching over there on Facebook. Thank you for joining us, people. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Oh man. Yes, they're just finalizing some diplomatic stuff before the game kicks off. As you can see, they're shaking hands. Players are about to take the field very shortly. Big up yourself, Mr. United. My partner is from Sierra Leone, who doesn't qualify this time. Yes, Sierra Leone is a country that has a I would say a huge pedigree when it comes on to football, but unfortunately they haven't been getting it done recently. So the game is about to kick off. The game is about to kick off. You're making this thing impossible. We're making this impossible. Yeah. Yeah, just get some in the bathroom. So the game hasn't started. So okay, Darius Heaven says Guinea 3. So you expect Guinea to beat Ivory Coast tonight? I don't think so. I think this Ivory Coast team will win tonight. I have Ivory Coast winning this competition actually. I don't think Guinea is strong enough to beat this Ivory Coast team tonight. I think this Ivory Coast team is a very complete. I think they're one of the most complete teams for me in this competition. Wow. All the links for these games are being very weird. They have it here in German and they have it in French. Okay, finally. They're singing the national anthem right now. Shout out to everybody. Put the game, guys. I don't want to be copyrighted, so I can't put the game on the screen. So you have to follow along with the live game on screen. So it's Ivory Coast, the national anthem, right now versus Guinea-Bissau. Big game tonight. Big game tonight, guys. Finally, it's finally here. I'm behind. Famous amigos. I'm behind. Okay, you're behind, Sella. So I think the game kicks off in another 2 minutes. Let me know your prediction, who you have winning this game, people. Let me know who you have winning this game tonight. Thank you, everybody over there on Facebook who has joined us and watching the game. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Cote d'Ivoire, Fofana in goal. Everybody know who Fofana is. He's one of the, I would say, he's one of the top goalkeepers in the world right now. But this game is not going to come down. Douglas, you got to read how YouTube works, my friend, and Facebook. They will shut everything down. And Cote d'Ivoire will be playing a 4-3-3 tonight. As we all know, 4-3-3 is a very attacking style of football. So that tells me that Cote d'Ivoire is coming out there on the front foot tonight. Cote d'Ivoire lining up in a 4-3-3 against live and direct from Kumba, Cameroon. Big up yourself from Cameroon, my friend. Straight out of Cameroon. What is it? Ben Burns. Big up yourself out there in um, Cameroon. And if anyone has a VPN, sign up for BBC Player in the UK, and you can watch the game there live. There's also VAR in the AFCON. I think for the first time there will be VAR in the competition. So it should be very interesting when it comes on to fouls. As you know, this is a very high intensity game. And we're off um, with the game. Ivory Coast in position early on here in the game. You know, some of the streams are Ivory Coast looks, as I said, Ivory Coast for me is the underdog, but the sleeper country and the host all in one. I expect them to do big things in this competition. Ivory Coast on the move early on. Ivory Coast just possessing the football, knocking it around, calming down players, getting into the game. Guinea-Bissau looking like they are very comfortable sitting back, waiting for Ivory Coast to attack. Ivory Coast here early on with with most of the possession. We have a full stadium, as you know that Ivory Coast is the home team tonight. Ivory Coast with the early position here in the game early on. But Guinea looks like a team that wants to play fast. When they get the ball, they play very direct style of football. The Guineans, they seem to want to just move the ball forward as soon as they get it, while the Ivory Coast team seems to want to possess the ball and play it around a bit more of a build-up style of play, more of a European style of play. That 4-3-3, as you know, it's very popular right now in the European game. Very early in the game. Throw in Guinea-Bissau here. Let's see if I could find another stream because this one is moving very slow. I don't like that. Okay. Football. There we go. All right. Maybe we can watch it on Sky. Maybe we can watch it on Sky Sports here. Yeah. Well, I'm not getting up right now to do that. And it's a goal for Ivory Coast, people. Ivory Coast just scored. So it's 1-0 Ivory Coast, as I predicted early on in this game. Ivory Coast has just scored early in this game. So 5 minutes on the clock, and it's 1-0 to Ivory Coast, people. 1-0 to Ivory Coast. Early in this game, 1-0 to Ivory Coast. Wow. That was very quick. 1-0 Ivory Coast. 5 minutes played in the game already. This Ivory Coast team, as I predicted, I said this is my sleeper team. This is a team that I think will win this competition, as they seem to be the most balanced team, and they're handling business very early here. Very early, Ivory Coast jumped out and scored in this game. 1-0 to Ivory Coast. 1-0 Ivory Coast in this game already. Ivory Coast having most of the ball possession in this game. Fofana with a good goal, but Guinea gave the ball away. I think Guinea, as I said, they're playing a bit direct. Guinea wants to move the ball too quickly up the field, and Ivory Coast is just trapping them, taking it away and just taking it up the park. I think Ivory Coast, if Guinea don't make some adjustment, I think this Ivory Coast team might score 3 or 4 goals on this Guinea team tonight. But first goal early on in this game. That was a no, that was the Guinean team looks to be very uncomfortable. The Guinean team looks to be very uncomfortable on the football. They don't seem to possess the ball very well, this Guinean team. They don't seem to possess the ball very well, I have to say. But it's 1-0 early on in this game. Very early in this game, and Guinea is already up 1-0. Margaret, big up yourself over there in the USA. This is an easy game. Very easy game here for this is a very easy game here for Ivory Coast. Can't see Ivory Coast losing this game. Should be a very, very easy game. Can't see Ivory Coast losing this one. Can't see them losing this game. Oh, that was close. Ivory Coast almost scoring again in the 8th minute. Cross coming into the box. Great header. Slightly missing from the defender. But Ivory Coast is on the move. Ivory Coast is on the. They're pouncing again. Seem like they want to get a lot more goals early on in this game. Ivory Coast showing a lot of skill in the middle of the park. Usman. Ivory Coast on the move again. Ivory Coast with another attack down the right hand side. Can he put this in the back of the net? Easy save by the keeper. But Ivory Coast is on the front foot here. Seems like they're not going to ease up in this game. Ivory Coast just coming at this Guinea-Bissau team. Easy save in the end by the goalkeeper. But Ivory Coast is looking very dangerous again, this Ivory Coast team. Moving the ball very quickly. Also coming with this high press, not allowing Guinea-Bissau to get out of their half in this game. Just picking off the balls of Guinea in those critical areas. Ivory Coast on the move again. Pass out on the left-hand side. Can he get the cross inside the box? Take him on a one-on-one. Is this a handball? Is this a handball? No. Ivory Coast retained position. Ivory Coast is just lurking outside that 18-yard box of Guinea-Bissau. Bonjour, my friend. Bonjour from Paris. Bonjour, bonjour. So as we have it now, 2 corners for Ivory Coast early in this game. 11 minutes played, throw in to Guinea-Bissau. But this Ivory Coast team looks very confident with the home crowd behind them. Boga, the number 13, he looks like he's a dangerous player coming down that left-hand side, causing a lot of problems for this Guinea-Bissau team early in the game. Ivory Coast just knocking it around in their own half. Throw in to Guinea-Bissau. Wow. Wow. This Ivory Coast team looks very, very positive early on in the game. This Ivory Coast team looks very, very positive. This Ivory Coast team looks very positive early in this game. Boga down the left-hand side again. Great tackle by the Guinea-Bissau defender. Just cleaning that up easily there. But Ivory Coast is just attack, attack, attack. They're not holding back on this Guinea-Bissau team. Ivory Coast not showing a lot of respect to this Guinea team. I think Ivory Coast knows and feels that they're the better team. Hence, they are Guinea-Bissau on the move here. Will the ref play this one on? Oh, foul. Ivory Coast retain possession. Guinea-Bissau, oh, great tackle, but and I think with VAR in this competition, it's gonna be very interesting because the African game is very physical, and I think we're gonna see a lot more red cards and maybe a lot more penalties in this competition than in the previous years. Oh, what a tackle! What a tackle! Cleaning that up for Guinea-Bissau there. Remember, uh, remember Guinea beat Nigeria on a friendly last week 2-0. So either they are better than they look and haven't settled down, or Nigeria is poor. I think Nigeria is just poor, man. I think Nigeria is a very confused nation. They have all the best players, but they can't seem to get it together. Oh, you mean Guinea, not Guinea-Bissau? That's why I said I have Guinea coming out of their group. I think they're a good team, but I still think Nigeria is a poor team with all the quality that they have. With all the quality they have, I think they're a poor team. Oh, is this another goal? I'm very stupid. Nigeria, yeah. I'm thinking if I show the game, I will pick up a strike on this. All right, I'm gonna try it. I might pick up a strike on my channel on this game, but uh, how do I do this? Okay, I'm gonna see if I can show the game, bro. I might get a strike restriction. I'm gonna see if I can show the game, but first, let me turn off monetization. Let me turn off monetization on this. Okay, monetization is off. Don't get strike. The game is easy to find. Yeah, that's true. People can find the game. I don't want to get my channel strike, bro. I don't want to get my channel strike. I think you're right about that, Dr. Dan. What? Take piece of that tape on the table. Bring it, bring it. I will.
Daddy, I like this tape because I have to peel the white thing.
Yeah.
Peel the white thing. Oh, thank you.
So there you have it, people. I think they strike. They just strike that channel. It's lucky that I didn't do that, cause they just strike that channel. They just strike the channel that's showing it on YouTube. The link is above. Where's the link? Drop the link, Dr. Dan, so I can drop the link for the people here. But they just strike one of the channels that was showing it on YouTube. They just strike one of the channels that was showing it on YouTube. Let me see here. Wow. Jalo. Oh. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I want to take that on. That's true, Dr. Dan. But even I think this thing is frozen. I think I'm frozen here. No, I think that should work. All right, let's see if we get the internet back up and running here. I don't know what just happened. My thing just froze. Don't know what just happened, but thing just froze. Okay. Wow. 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 Having big issues here with my internet. Still only 1-0 in this game. All right. We should be back. Let me see. Another link. Yeah. Something just happened and the thing just froze up. Don't know what happened, but I don't know how do I fix this. All right. It was my virtual camera. Now I know what it was. A virtual camera. Still 1-0 in the game, people. 27 minutes played. Ivory Coast on the score sheet early on in this game. Guinea-Bissau, though, seems like they're settling in now a little bit better. Seem like they're settling into the game now. The game is looking a bit tighter. Early on in this game, Ivory Coast was looking like they were gonna run away with this one very easily, but Guinea-Bissau look like they're just creeping back into the game a little bit. Yeah, Guinea-Bissau looks like they're creeping back into this game slightly. Is that Elijah in the flat? Yeah. Oh, but I don't think I don't think he's from. Isn't he from? Is he not from Senegal? You're talking about Joof? No, I don't know. No, maybe somebody else with Leroy Smart. But 28 minutes played. Ivory Coast still with a lot of possession of the football, but Guinea-Bissau Guinea-Bissau looks like they're getting back into the game a little bit. I like the style of football that Ivory Coast is playing. They're playing a lot of ball possession, just knocking it around. They don't look like they're in a rush to go forward with the ball when they get it. They seem like they want to get their players to get some touches on the football before they start attacking. Okay, you're talking about Joe from Doof. He was a part of that Senegal team that beat France. Then I think he also ended up at Liverpool. I think he ended up at Liverpool. Really good player. I think that was the peak of Senegalese football at that time. Oh, what a tackle! What a tackle! Guinea-Bissau on the attack here. Shot. Oh, wow! What a miss! Guinea-Bissau had the opportunity there to come back in the game. Guinea-Bissau. Oh, wow! Maldo came in with the huge tackle, and I think that's the first yellow card in the game to Ivory Coast. First yellow card in this game for Ivory Coast there, but that was a good advantage played by the referee there. Guinea-Bissau almost came back into this game. Have you counted your chickens too early? Guinea be gaining football. I might have. Yeah, Guinea-Bissau seems like they're coming back into this game. But Balde had a huge chance on goal there, but he just cuffed it a bit. He didn't really, I think he was going more for placement. That's the French league player. He's one of the most, I think he's one of the most expensive players on Guinea, but he's starting to get back into the game now. Balde, he's a really good striker out of France. And Guinea-Bissau had an opportunity there to come back into the game, but unfortunately, they didn't do so. But Rodriguez is back up on his feet after that tackle there. And first yellow card for this Ivory Coast team. Very dangerous tackle. And remember that there's VAR in this game. As I said before, I think the African game can be very physical. Ivory Coast look like they're very comfortable in this game, though. The fans are a bit calm in the stadium. It's not very lively. Oh, nice 1-2 here by Ivory Coast, but Semedo, the captain of Guinea-Bissau, just came in and cleaned that one up very easily. Well, Mama Balde is the man for Guinea-Bissau tonight. If they're going to get the goals, Mama Balde is going to be the man as he's playing over there in French League One for Guinea-Bissau. I know Guinea-Bissau will be depending on him to get the goals for them in this competition. Still early in this game. Okay, okay, okay. Crap. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you there, Leroy. We counted it. Oh, Semedo there had an opportunity for Guinea-Bissau on goal, but he scuffed that again. Guinea-Bissau though is getting more opportunities here, as the game gets close to the first half. They're getting a lot more opportunity. This Guinea-Bissau team, lots of opportunities now opening up in the game. Wow, that was a shot. Yes, yes, you're 40, about a few seconds ahead of. I think I see if I can catch up. Cote d'Ivoire. Oh, oh. Fofana hitting the crossbar with that one. Dangerous shot by Fofana there. What a shot on goal by Fofana. That should have been number two for Ivory Coast. But this Ivory Coast team is looking very, very dangerous. Let me see if I could catch up to you there, Leroy Smart. But what a shot there by Fofana, hitting the crossbar there, almost up two for Guinea for Ivory Coast. But brilliant save there by the Guinea-Bissau goalkeeper to keep Ivory Coast at 1-0. 36 minutes played in this game already in the first half. Oga passing that back. Fofana on the ball. Fofana is looking very dangerous for Ivory Coast early on in this game. He looks to be one of those players who tends to turn up in those areas to pick up those second chances. Boga on the left hand side. Boga, can he gets the cross in? Brilliant tackle there by the Guinea-Bissau defender. Beautiful defending there by Guinea-Bissau. So as we have it, 80, 181 passes for Ivory Coast to 170 passes for Guinea-Bissau in this game. But I'm sure that Ivory Coast would want to score another goal and not get too comfortable, even though they're the host or they're the home team. Boga again down the left hand side. Not a good cross. But Boga has been causing a lot of problems down that left hand side for Guinea Bissau. He's been causing a lot of problems down that left hand side. What? Oh, what a block. What a block by Jallo there. But Boga is causing havoc down that left hand side for Ivory Coast. But another brilliant save there. The defender just placing his body between goal. But Crosso had the chance there to put that in the net. Corner coming in. Handled easily by Guinea Bissau. Wow, and we have an injury timeout as it seems like two players are down on the park. Just seen stats game in AFCON on the average less than 2 goals a game. So don't expect, yeah. Okay, Leroy. Wow, bro, that's amazing statistics there. So the African Cup games are averaging less than 2 goals per game. So that tells me that Guinea-Bissau will have a lot of opportunities to get back into this game. And I think that's another thing that a lot of the African countries struggle with is finishing. They do a lot of things right, but they don't get the ball into the back of the net. Lots of shots on goal, but not a lot of goal conversions. 39 minutes played in the first half of this one. 39 minutes played. Fofana with the opening goal for Ivory Coast. But Boga, he's playing very well for Ivory Coast down that left hand side. I think he's the one who's causing the most problems for this Guinea-Bissau team. Guinea-Bissau will need to take care of Boga coming down that left hand side for Ivory Coast. If you remember, quite a few of the finals have had ended in yes, and the last one ended in penalties. Seeing Senegal beating Egypt in that finals in penalties. But Guinea-Bissau seems like they're sitting back and try to catch Ivory Coast on the counter as Ivory Coast is playing a very high line as they're trying to take the initiative and press on. Even the last two, three. Yeah. But Guinea-Bissau looks a bit more settled. They look like they have settled a little bit more in the game. Carlos Mane, great move here. Can he get it into the box? Great defending by the Ivory Coast team. Looking very organized, Ivory Coast. Now Ivory Coast is on the counter attack. Mamba is on the counter attack down the right hand side. Can he get it across? And this is number two. Is he's scruffed it? I think this might be a penalty. I think this will go upstairs to VAR. The referee was right there, but he's saying that's not a penalty. But Mamba broke away for Ivory Coast down that right hand side, got a nice cross in. But I think the Ivory Coast striker just made a mess of that one and went down very easily in the box and wanted a penalty. But I think he wasn't decisive enough. He didn't try to get it in on goal on the first go around, but it's not enough contact. Not enough contact on that one. Not enough contact. Ivory Coast on the move again. Wow. They are striking channels left and right. I'm really lucky I didn't do that. But Ivory Coast again on the move here. Yeah, not enough contact on that one, Leroy Smalls. He went down very easily trying to get the penalty, but the referee wasn't having that. The referee just wasn't having that, but it was a brilliant cross in by Mamba there. And the strike, he didn't need, I think he needed to hit that first time, but he was in two minds. He wasn't sure if he wanted to control that. And I think that was a good call by the referee there. But Guinea-Bissau is on the move again. Can Guinea-Bissau get a goal back before halftime? And he's in. And is this a free kick on the edge of the box? Referee says play on. This should be a yellow card here for Guinea-Bissau, as that was a very cheap tackle. That should be a yellow card right there. That should be a yellow card. Very interesting. I think the game is becoming very open as Ivory Coast is attacking as much as they can. And Guinea-Bissau is finally just trying to hit them on the counter attack. I think there should be a few more goals in this game. This game might be a 2-1 game. It seems that there should be a few more goals in this game. But Balde was in here, but it was great defending. Great defending, but I think that looks like a foul to me. That kind of looked like a foul, but that looked a bit like a foul. However, it wasn't given. That looked to me like a foul, but it wasn't given on this occasion. "45 minutes played in the first half as we come up to the halftime break. Ivory Coast having a bulk of the ball possession in this one. I don't know where it is, Maya. I'm on the thing. Yeah, but I'm on the stream though. Guinea-Bissau last 6 games, 2-6 versus Mali, 1-0 versus DJ Botti, 1-1 versus Burkina Faso, 2-1 versus Sierra Leone, 1-0 versus Nigeria. So Guinea-Bissau did beat Nigeria. Injury here for the Ivory Coast team. Both players going up for the header here, coming down heavy on that one on the striker. And we have another stoppage here as both players colliding on that one, going up for 50-50 ball. Yes, so they did beat Nigeria. They did beat Nigeria, right? I don't know. Nigeria seems like they're losing to everybody. Nigeria seems like they're losing to everybody, man. Can't trust Nigeria anymore when it comes on to football. They're just not. Nigeria is just not bringing their A game. Can't trust Nigeria in these games. Nigeria just not bringing their A game. Nigeria just not bringing their A game. But it's still 1-0, people. Still 1-0, folks, as we come up to the halftime break. 48 minutes played. As you know, it's 4 minutes added on in the first half of this one. 4 minutes added on as we come up to the halftime break. As it looks, Ivory Coast will be going into the half 1-0 early in this 。 one. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . . 。 . 。 . . . . . . . . . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 。 。 . 。 。 . . . 。 。 . 。
. . . . . 。 . .
as it looks, as I predicted, I think Ivory Coast looks the more dangerous team in this game. They look more threatening. They look like the team that will um, walk away with the victory tonight. Guinea-Bissau, though, looks like they do have the potential to score some goals. Guinea-Bissau does look like they have the potential, but I think Ivory Coast, to me, looks like the most dangerous team. And there we have it, people. It's halftime in the game. It's halftime. 1-0 to Guinea-Bissau. 1-0 to Ivory Coast in the first half of this game. Nigeria have fallen off. Their golden age has gone, been like that the last 10 years. Same with Ghana. Have no idea why Chris Hutton is the manager. He is too cautious. He's not. Yeah, I don't like those kind of managers. When I see managers like Southgate, um, Houghton, those managers, they just, I think the Ghanaian coach, he doesn't coach Ghana in a way that he capitalizes their abilities and their flair. I think he's trying to get them to play a kind of football that the Ghanaian team is not used to, hence making Ghana look like a totally different team. Not really. So it's halftime right now, people. Halftime in the game right now. Halftime in the game right now. Halftime, remember I said it would be a low scoring affair. It always is with African. Yes, it's always those 1-0 games, 1-all games, 2-1 games. Not a lot because the finishing is not that great. But I do think there will be more goals in a lot of these games due to VAR. VAR will be a part of the equation. I think VAR will play a huge role in this African Cup, as VAR will bring back a lot of tackles, because a lot of times people thought that the referees were biased towards Morocco and Egypt and those teams. I think now with VAR, where they can go back and look at some of these fouls, I think it should be a bit more interesting in this one. So there you have it, people. It's halftime. It's halftime in the game, and it's 1-0 to Ivory Coast in the first half. Ivory Coast had a bulk of the possession, lots of shots on goals, lot of dangerous attacks, but they haven't seemed to come up with a second goal, as they are still only 1-0 up in this game. Do you guys think that Guinea-Bissau could come back in this game? Do you think that Guinea-Bissau, can Baldi, the French striker, can he score some goals in this game? Do you think Guinea-Bissau has what it takes to come back in this game? I think it's going to be a tough one. I know you said, Leroy Smart, that the African Cup games tend to be low scoring. I do see maybe one or two more goals in this game. If Ivory Coast comes out and play the second half the way they played in the first half, I can't see any reason for not having a couple more goals in this game. Sure, there should be a few more um, goals in this game. So 1-0 as we have it there. 1-0 as we have it there. Ivory Coast, Fafana with the strike early on in the game to put Ivory Coast up 1-0. But we can look at some of the other statistics in this game. Corner kicks 4 to Ivory Coast in this game. 4-0. No corner kicks for Guinea-Bissau in this game. As you can see at halftime, the score line is 1-0. 62% ball possession for Ivory Coast to 38 percent ball possession. Shots on target 2-1. Two shots on target for Ivory Coast, one shot on target for Guinea-Bissau in this game. So as you see, Ivory Coast is dominating this game. Ivory Coast is eating up a bulk of the ball possession. 68% ball possession to Ivory Coast. 57% attack to 25% for Guinea-Bissau, and dangerous attack shots on off target 4-1. So Ivory Coast has taken more shots at goal and having coming up with two shots on target to one for Guinea-Bissau. So I know that Ivory Coast has a lot of ball possession, but as we know, ball possession, as you can see here, dangerous attacks, 30% for Ivory Coast to 11% for Guinea-Bissau. As we know, a lot of times that ball possession is not necessarily what dictates the outcome of the game. A lot of times it comes down to the team that is the most clinical team that gets the goals and walk away with the victory. So there we have it again, people. 68%, 62% ball possession to 38 for Ivory Coast, and 4-0 in corner kicks. Three yellow cards already, slightly on the, I don't know. I would say it's medium between clean. I think it's okay. Three yellow cards for the African game. I think it's three yellow cards in this game already. 2-1 for Ivory Coast on that one. Leroy Small says, I think Guinea B can steal a goal. Ivory Coast don't create enough. Remember, their goal came from the right back for Guinea giving the ball to them. No real clear-cut chances apart from the post being hit. Yes, that's true. That's true. But I do think that Baga on the left-hand side for Ivory Coast, he's causing a lot of problems for this Guinean team. He's running at the right back, and the right back seems to be having a lot of difficulties containing him. No, not right now, man. Oh, big up yourself, Jackie Love TV, and big up yourself, everyone who is on stream. Big up everybody over there on Facebook. If you're over there on X or you're on YouTube, just hit the like button on the video, share, hit the like button and share, people. Thank you again. I think Guinea B can steal a goal. Yeah, read that one. I've been watching the Afghan since 1990. It hasn't really changed apart from the pitches being better. Look at the top scorers each tournament. They rarely get more than 3 goals. Wow. That's a really crazy statistic. So you're saying that the top goal scorer in the Afghan Cup doesn't get like 5 goals. It's not like the other competitions where you get 7, 8, 9. That's one thing that I think the African teams need to work on is African teams don't finish very well. They don't finish very well when it comes on to scoring a lot of goals. And I think that's why we don't have a lot of African teams going deep into the World Cup. The last African team to go very deep in the World Cup was Ghana, where they lost that game to Uruguay, where a lot of people would have said Suarez basically stole that game from Ghana, where he basically stopped the goal with his hand. But you are right about that. I don't think the African teams are very clinical in front of goal. That's something that they might need to work on. That's the difference with the European game. There tends to be a lot more goals scored in those games. I'm reading some comments here from Cataract on the video from the last night. I will go over there and reply to Cataract later. Yeah, I will go over there and reply to Cataract later. I might have to do a Jamaican show later tonight. Never know. You never know. We might have to do a reggae boy show later tonight. That goal reminds me of a Boza goal. Um, I think Jamaica can beat any one of these teams. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think the African teams are very physical. They play very fast. I don't know. The fact that the African teams doesn't score a lot of goals, yes, maybe Jamaica can compete with them. And looking at these games, if it's low scoring, I expect a team like Egypt to be back into the finals. I expect Egypt and Morocco to be back in the finals. If the other West African teams struggle to get goals, I think Egypt is a team that won't struggle. They're very clinical. Egypt only lost one game in 2023. A team like Morocco, Algeria, having good strikers. I think those teams will potentially go deep into this tournament if the West African teams are not coming up with the goals. Yeah, yeah. I think the West what happened to Ketara? Don't see much of him anymore. Well, yeah, they're saying that he's working with Raymond Anderson. So it was crazy last night. Though I know Jackie, they have the players on the all the top leagues in the world. They are very strong. These tournaments they cancel each other out. You have to. Yes, I think the African team outside of Europe, I think Africa might be the continent. Well, the biggest competitions are in Europe, but I would say outside of Europe, I would say that Africa probably some of the most produce the most top players. Not saying they produce the best players. Brazil does produce some of the best players. Argentina, Uruguay produces some of the best players when it comes on to football. But if you look at Africa as a continent, I think that Africa produces the most because Africa is a huge continent and there's so many good teams in Africa. I don't know much about the leagues in Africa. I know that when South Africa got the World Cup, that was one of the ideas was to basically develop a good league in South Africa using the infrastructure from the World Cup, all those nice stadiums that were built. But I haven't heard anything um, coming out of the Africa. And I think that's what's missing in Africa. A country like Nigeria with so much wealth, a country like South Africa, I think one of those countries need to produce a top tier competition like you have the Premier League in Africa. I think I think that's the problem that Africa African football faces. Africa doesn't have a top league that you can look at, like when you look at even the MLS, you look at the Premier League, French League, La Liga, Serie A. There's nothing in Africa that we can say, okay, this country, we can't say Nigeria, which is a footballing nation. I think Nigeria would be the country that could potentially produce a league that the world would want to see. And I think that's something that they maybe should look at. And maybe it should be a collaboration between all the African countries, or maybe create a continental league. Maybe there should be a continental league in Africa where the clubs are, I don't know how they're going to do that, but something needs to happen to develop. The problem is traveling. Yes, the problem is traveling in Africa. Yes, I think so as well. Because I remember when I was in, I remember when I was in, I remember when I was in Cape Verde in Africa, and we ain't doing enough, says Festus in Africa. Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. And Africa has the resources. Africa is just Africa as well. We're from the Caribbean, but people, I'm in Europe and people still think I'm from Nigeria. People ask me sometimes where in Africa I'm from. You know, are you from Ghana? Are you from Nigeria? Are you from Gambia? People are asking me where, and I'm telling them, and they say no, but your foreparents are from Africa, and I'm like, okay, that's a problem that Africa disappoints me when it comes on to politics, organizing, sports, and getting along. Like, it's not just Africa. I just think black people on a whole, we were through colonization, they divided us and we just fight against each other, and we cannot cooperate to create anything that other than culture and music. We know that Africa has some of the strongest culture. Hundreds of thousands of tribes are in Africa, I'm guessing. So there's a lot of culture there, lots of culture in the Caribbean. But when you look at Africa and you look at the Caribbean, outside of music, which is culture, there's not a lot of things that we provide. Africa has maybe 80% of the world's natural resources, yet Africa is the poorest continent on paper. That's very strange. And I don't blame that on the white man. That's a thing that a lot of black people tend to do. Blame the white man for all our problems. That's not a white person problem, why Africa can't get things together. That's an Africa problem. This is even why they came up with ECOWAS in West Africa, something to basically mimic the European Union, where they could facilitate more trade between African countries and cooperation. I think Kenya is trying to implement a no visa policy for Africans coming into Kenya. And a lot of Kenyans are against that. They're saying, "Oh, we don't want other Africans in Kenya." Yet everybody is on the same continent. It's very strange. We go through similar problems in the Caribbean. You have what's called CARICOM, countries like Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and still a lot of Jamaicans struggle to get into Barbados, struggle to get into Trinidad, and all these people are black people. You know, all these people are black people. Like, black people, we are very good at competing against ourselves. We rather fight each other than compete against the world. It's a very strange thing. It's very strange. We rather sit there with nothing while the rest of the world is excelling, and we fight each other. I cannot. Another thing that holds Africa back is leaders in Africa. They don't like to let go of power. They want to die on the job. When you look at African countries, it has to take coup to take out leaders in Africa. We saw what happened in Gabon. We saw what happened in Mali, Benin. It's just coup. They has to bring in coup to take over these countries. These leaders, when you look at the statistic, leaders are in in power for 40 years, 30 years. He just hands over the country to his son, his brother, and they just enrich themselves, take all the wealth, sell the resources to the Russians, to the Chinese, to the French. But the France, I also have to say, France has been raping Africa. People, if you know how much African, West African countries have to pay France per annum just to use the franc, it's crazy. So France has been one of those countries as well who has still silently have a grip on Africa and been squeezing that continent dry. But I still think at the end of the day, if the Africans had the willpower to do it, they can. Because France cannot just come to Africa and set up shop without Africans allowing them to do so. There are other Africans who are willing to sell out Africa for their own personal benefits. That's one of the major problems. There are people in Africa in power who doesn't care about other Africans who are struggling, who are suffering, kids walking barefoot, people work making $2, living off $2 a day, while the country has uranium, aluminum, cobalt. They have everything that makes an iPhone. When you walk around with an iPhone, you walk around with Africa in your pocket. Yet people in Africa can't, in a lot of countries, can't barely find food. It is strange. I can't figure it out. It's strange, man. They were trying it, but long travels. I traveled to Nigeria in 2005, and they gave me the name Adito Combo. Adito Adito Combo. Okay, so you're no longer Leroy Smart. You're Adito Combo. Um, he he who has returned from across the water. That's brilliant. I spoke to the head of the Nigerian diaspora, the BK Abari, and we had a few people went down to Africa and they had to return and etc. But the game is back on, people. I'm sorry that I turned the show into a political atmosphere, but we're back live again. Sorry about that, people. Yeah, I'm really passionate when I talk about African politics because it frustrates me. It really African politics really frustrates me. It drives me crazy as to why they can't get it together in Africa. Yeah. This guy said, "Thank God I was waiting." I'll read this one. Leadership in Africa are mostly corrupt. I can agree. You know your African politics, JT. Yeah, man. The match start, but when it comes to the football federation, they're all greedy and selfish. Oh, this is not supposed to be there. We need it to be like so, or yes, there we go, so people can see it. Yes, so we get back to the game here. Let's get back to the game here. Okay, I don't want to watch the game in. Yeah, I don't want to watch the game in Arabic language. A lot of these channels are showing the game in Arabic language. I can't keep up with that mess, bro. right. Let's get the Ivory Coast on the attack. Dika chipping this one over. Can Boga get it in? Oh, nice defending by Guinea-Bissau. But Guinea-Bissau is struggling to get the ball out of their third as Ivory Coast is playing a very high back line. You can see the two center backs for Ivory Coast are basically in the half of the this Guinea-Bissau team. Boga has had a brilliant game. I think Boga and Fofana has been the two most dangerous players in this game for Ivory Coast. So we have a foul here. Dangerous tackle. But I think this was a good foul by the Guinea-Bissau player. Sometimes you have to take those smart fouls. Ivory Coast is very comfortable just knocking it around in their own half. And Guinea-Bissau seems very complacent in not pressing Ivory Coast enough in their half of the field. Guinea-Bissau is structured in a 4-4-2, it seems. Very defensive posture by Guinea-Bissau here, but Ivory Coast is just trying to figure out a way how to break through this steel-like Guinea-Bissau defense. Guinea-Bissau getting that one. Can they break on the counter here? Another turnover. Back to Guinea-Bissau. Another turnover here. Back to Ivory Coast again. The game hasn't really settled down in the second half as yet. 54 minutes played. Boga again. Ivory Coast not getting that final ball in the box. Looking very uncertain with what they want to do this time with the ball there. Not very certain for Ivory Coast on that one, turning over the football. But here's Ivory Coast. Oh no. Not a good shot by Boga, but Boga, he's still having a very good game. He looks like he's the danger man tonight for Ivory Coast. He's causing a lot of problems for this Guinea-Bissau defense. Ever since the first half, I thought he was the most dangerous player on the park, and he's doing the same thing he did in the first half, running at this Guinea-Bissau defense. Oh, easy turnover here. The game is a little bit scattered right now. The game is a little bit scattered right now. Both teams are not that settled in the second half. Oh, the game is very choppy in the second half of the game. Oh no. Oh, and it's a goal. And it's a goal for Ivory Coast. 2-0 Ivory Coast. Very bad defending there by Guinea-Bissau. Very bad defending there. 2-0 to Guinea to Ivory Coast on that one. Very bad defending there. Very bad defending there. And it's a goal. So it's 2-0 to Ivory Coast in this game now. We can say this game is almost done and dusted as Ivory Coast has scored again. 2-0 to Ivory Coast. Very bad defending here. And this one, the cross came inside the box. Defender didn't deal with that one very well, but that was a brilliant goal as well by the striker there to latch on, as his first touch wasn't that great, but that was a really good goal. So it's 2-0 to Ivory Coast in this encounter. Two 0 to Ivory Coast in this encounter. Not very good defending there at all. Not good defending there by Guinea-Bissau there. No, 22 at center back is Damian Lowe of Guinea. Yeah, that was very bad defending there by the Guinea-Bissau defender. Had a lot of time to deal with that one. I think he just lost his head a bit there, and that cost Guinea-Bissau the goal. As I said, Leroy, I thought there would be more goals in this game, and as you can see there is more goals in the game, and it's now 2-0. Nicola Pepe that. Ivory Coast in position again, lurking around that 18-yard box of Guinea-Bissau. Ivory Coast seems like they still want to get some more goals in this game. Ivory Coast seems like they still want to get some more goals in this game. Ivory Coast seems like they want to get a few more goals in this game. Don't think Guinea-Bissau has enough firepower to come back and score in this game. They look very conservative, Guinea-Bissau. They don't seem to have an idea of how they want to move forward with the football. They're conceding a lot of the possession to Ivory Coast. But Leroy, I think I will set up a Reggae Boy stream for later after this game has ended. Ivory Coast on the move again. Great defending, great defending. Guinea-Bissau has defended well at times, but I think they just don't look very comfortable going forward with the football. They don't look very comfortable at all going forward. They don't look very comfortable going forward with the football, I have to say. They don't look very comfortable going forward with the football. They don't look very comfortable going forward with the football. They don't look very comfortable going with the football at all. They don't look very comfortable. So 67 minutes played in the game. Still 2-0 to Ivory Coast. 5 corners to Ivory Coast. 1 corner to Guinea-Bissau. Not a lot in the attacking third for Guinea-Bissau. They've been struggling all game to get it together in this one. They've been struggling to get it together in this one, I have to say. I said, me from Nigeria. Big up yourself, KD Perry, in Nigeria, man. If you're in Lagos, Nigeria, the home of Wizkid and Burna Boy. Yeah, Nigeria, man. Nigeria is producing a lot of big guns right now. I have to give you guys that. Nigeria is on fire right now. Nigeria is on fire right now. I have to be honest. $70, 20 minutes remaining in this game. 2-0 to Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast still gaining a lot of the ball possession in this game. Not seeing this game. It's safe to say this one is over. I can't see Guinea-Bissau coming back in this game unless something really new happens. Hmm. Wow, still 25 minutes remaining in this game. A lot of time remaining in this game. Lots of time remaining in this game. There we have it. Strange. Wilfred Saha was not called up for squad. Yeah, Ivory Coast squad. Do you think they needed him? I think they're trying to move away from him, even though he's a really good player and he's having a good time at Galatasaray. But I think Ivory Coast, and he's kind of a distraction because he's like a superstar. I think Ivory Coast is trying to build a more complete team where he doesn't take up all the energy out of the team. But Saha, yeah, they have to move on. That was a good goal there by Ivory Coast, though. I have to say, Baga, he had a really good game. I think he's the man tonight for the job. But it seems like this game is over, Leroy Smart, and I'm only streaming to some people on Facebook, so I'm gonna start up my Reggae Boy stream in a bit. So I think I'm gonna end this live stream here because I don't think there's anything left in this game. So I'll see you guys back in a bit.